this is Derek Miller with Hardrock Haven, and today we are here with Billy Farley from Ritual. How's it going, man?
All right, not a bad day today. I'm breathing.
Awesome. Well, Ritual is celebrating, over 20 years of making music, and this interview is now on the Lost Relic series from Heaven and Hell Records. So to start with, can you tell us how Ritual ended up being the first release on this Lost Relic series, and how was the band approached, and how that all come together?
Well, to tell you the truth, I got an email from Jeremy that said that he had heard about the band, and he did a little research on us, so he heard some of the songs on the net, and he called me up, and he asked me what we were doing, if we were still an active band. And I said, yeah, we're still an active band, and he asked me to send him some stuff, so I sent him about 50 songs.
Okay.
So that's how it happened. It was just over the old net.
Awesome. Well, when Ritual started as a band, the industry was kind of moving away from your kind of music. It was starting to be grunge and really depressing stuff. So can you tell us a little bit of how Ritual got together, maybe some of who you toured with, and what was it like trying to get your music on the radio at that time?
Well, telling you the truth, when Ritual started out, I guess it probably was like 84.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was back further. But Ritual had come from two other bands. I was in a band. Our first original band was Black Sheep, and then it evolved into a band called Final Plea.
Okay.
And then Final Plea evolved into Ritual.
Oh, okay.
And we were always doing original music. And when we first started doing original music, not with just a Ritual, but before, there was no clubs to play on the East Coast except for 2 in Jersey and 2 in Manhattan, actually 3 in Manhattan, that would do original music, because all the other clubs wanted jukebox music.
Oh, all right.
So, so we decided, once we got Ritual together, we had been doing some small recordings with the other bands, but we just didn't have it yet. But when Ritual got together, I said to myself, you know what, we're going to put our own record out. And you know what, and we're going to just keep on playing. And what happened was we got hooked up with some local radio stations in the tri-state area.
Okay.
And they liked the stuff, so they started playing it. And from there, as a following grew, we started getting more and more clubs that wanted us to play, because to them, if they heard us on the radio, they knew the following would come, you know what I mean?
Right.
So actually, Ritual opened a lot of doors up on the Northeast for original bands. And the funny thing is, I was young and dumb, so it didn't matter, because every time somebody said, well, you can't press your own album without a record company. I said, why not? And we did it. You can't get radio play without representation. I said, I don't know, why not? We did it. And it was just a matter of sending the stuff out to radio stations, waiting in the parking lot for the DJs to come in.
Right.
And a lot of times people were like, yeah, give me the thing. And I would get a call a couple of days later, go, hey, dude, this is good. We're going to put you in rotation, And it just started growing. And we were always like a people's band, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't a glam band. We were a rock band,
Definitely.
Heavy rock band with metal. I mean, I hate always to put the different genres together, but we just went out and played.
Yeah.
And it got to the point we were playing 6 nights a week up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
And as we got bigger and bigger, we started getting opening act gigs for, bigger regional bands, and then we became a bigger regional band, so we started getting the open acts for national bands, and then we started getting headline gigs because our following was growing, and it just kind of snowballed. And it's funny, that was all before the internet, and that was all before all that kind of communication, so our stuff was strictly word of mouth, getting airplay. I mean, we were getting airplay in Europe and Malaysia, Asian countries, and it just snowballed. And the more we played, the more radio play we got, it was even better, because we would roll into town, like we'd roll into Boston, and the first time we played in Boston, we had a packed house.
Wow.
Because it was on the radio, and people were digging it. So they just started coming out and seeing it, and it snowballed, and we were always a people's band. It was never like no access to snotty crap. It was, we hung out, we played, we hung out,
That's awesome, man. Well, tell me this, the Lost Relic series, it's music for collectors and those who really understand and appreciate this kind of music. So tell me this, I mean, have you seen some Ritual releases on eBay, that sort of thing, just at some crazy or surprising prices?
Yeah, it's funny because, we go back so far. Our first stuff was on vinyl.
Right.
And the first album, LTMP, LTMP standard for Let the Metal Play. That album sold a lot in its time, and it kept on selling. It was out on vinyl, it was out on cassette,
Yeah.
and it got bootlegged a lot too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was getting phone letters from people over, in European countries, and when the wall fell, that, where can we get more copies of it? And I was like, I didn't even have it distributed in Europe at the time. So they were bootlegging the thing. So there was a lot of sales we missed out on, let me tell you.
Geez, sounds like it. Well, tell me this. Why did Ritual and you yourself begin creating original music and kind of chase this dream of becoming rock stars? I mean, who influenced you guys?
Well, to tell you the truth, I started out writing lyrically.
Okay.
And I was like, I know the best way to get my words across is through music. And I was in a cover band for 6 months, and I was like, I ain't digging this.
Yeah.
I want to do my own stuff, because I was writing it all along. But I started out in music business really young, because both my brothers played. So they were playing, like, local clubs in Jersey and New York, and I was, like, doing lights for them and stuff like that.
Okay.
And even before I actually got the band rolling, I went out on the road with a band for a year doing lights, 6 months for doing sound. I wanted to learn every aspect of the business, so when it came to put my own show together,
yeah,
I could communicate with the lighting people, the audio people, the set people, so it wasn't like I was a moron talking to these people. They knew I knew what I was talking about because I had done it. And that made it so much smoother on the road, and every tour we did, we had a different concept,
Yeah.
And it's funny because we did a lot of stuff live on stage touring that other bands copied from us down the line.
Okay.
Which, in a way, is a form of flattery, because once you put something out in the public, other people go, wow, that looks good, that's a good idea, or I'm going to do that,
Definitely.
So.
Very, very cool. Well, tell me this. You have a track that's called Evil in Your Heart.
Yeah.
And how did that come to be featured in the movie Hate's Haunted Sleigh Ride?
That's another thing that happened over the net.
Okay.
Once we started getting our sites up and rolling, a lot of people from back in the day, because we never stopped playing or putting music out. We never stopped. There was a time we didn't go out and play live, but we never stopped recording and putting stuff out, And somebody got in touch with me, was a fan of the band, and said, well, I know this person, Warren. He's from Jersey. He's been doing movies probably 30-something years now, Warren Disbrow, horror movies.
Yeah.
And she said, you should give him a call. So I called and I talked to, I guess, like one of his secretaries. And she said, yeah, cool, Warren's interested. Send him some music. So I sent down a ton of music once again. He called me back and he says, hey, dude, you sent me like 45 tunes. I'm like, well, I gave you a choice of everything. He goes, well, Evil in Your Heart couldn't have been better for this song. He goes, the guy says to me, I couldn't have told you what to write. It just fit perfect,
Yeah.
And that's how that became. It's just another thing over the net. An older fan got in touch with us, and he said, there's somebody I know that's interested in using your music. You should send it down, and the next thing you know, he's using the song.
That's very cool, man. Well, as you've stated, the band today is still active and still recording new music. I cranked one of the newer tracks called Already Dead, and it's killer.
Yeah, that's brand new.
Okay, brand new.
Yeah.
And how has the writing and that whole recording process changed for you, for you and the band over these past couple of decades?
Well, when we started recording, when we were young, we started out in like a small 8-track studio.
Right.
And then I've always been an electronic geek, and I was always into it. So whenever we recorded, no matter where I went, I was always part of the recording process because I wanted to learn how to produce and engineer and all that. Where sometimes members of the band, they come and do their gig, and then it was a party, for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was the best school I could ever go to because it was the actual thing,
Yeah.
And we've recorded in some really fine studios over the years. I ran into a friend of mine, had a small studio in Newark, New Jersey, where we did the first album. He expanded. He was a sound man for Southside Johnny Live. We toured with him. And then he got a job at NBC Studios working for Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And there was times he would sneak us into NBC at night. And like we would lay down the rhythm tracks at one studio, we'd bring it over to there, and we would lay down the vocals and the guitar track, the guitar overdubs
Yeah.
over at NBC. I never could say on any of the stuff we released we did it at NBC Studios. I always had to say Midnight Studios because we were getting in there on the sly, you know. So, but it was cool because, you know, a lot of people, the recording thing is so expensive, but we did some songs at one studio where we were just building it. Somebody who worked at another studio we recorded at, I went down and painted the whole studio for studio time, you know what I mean? It was always hook, crook, and, you know, beg, borrow, and steal. And that's why a lot of the songs, I mean, they're one take done on the rhythm tracks, the overdubs, one take on the vocals, because we didn't have the budget to keep on banging our heads against the wall. So that's why some of it sounds raw, you know? But I think a lot of times we captured stuff we probably wouldn't have been able to capture it if we had, like, a bigger budget, you know?
Yep, definitely.
Because I found out now, recording at my home studio, you can record something a dozen different ways, or you can sing in a dozen different ways, and without having to look at the clock, sometimes I find myself going, you know what, it's done. Got to move on, because we could work on this song forever because we have unlimited time, you know?
Yep. Well, now that the Lost Relics release will be out, when can we expect an album of all new music from Ritual?
Well, let's see. That's what we're working on right now. Where the heck are we now? July? Hopefully by October we should have a brand new one done.
Awesome.
You know. Now, the Lost Relics one has the first two albums on it.
Okay.
With some outtakes that weren't, you know, included on the original release. And then we have so much music since those first two, because we're talking over 25 years here.
Yeah.
So hopefully if the things go right with the first Lost Relics, maybe there'll be a second one, you know. But we're definitely releasing a whole brand new album, probably October.
Okay. Well, are we going to be able to see Ritual on the road, playing live, promoting the new release on Heaven and Hell Records and the brand new album?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Just a matter of logistics of getting this new album done and getting the band ready to do what we have to do, you know.
Well, Billy, I just want to say I really appreciate your time, and I thank you for letting Hardrock Haven be a part of this. Is there anything that I left out that you would like to leave with all of the listeners?
Well, I put you this way. I've been doing this almost all my life, so I guess I'm going to be doing this till the day I die, you know, where I can't do it anymore.